Hey everybody, welcome to the Dad Challenge podcast. I have a very special guest today. So, you didn't expect this shit, that's for sure. 100 people messaged me yesterday about Jordan Cheyenne. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
And I'm like, who? There's so many family vloggers on the internet, and I'm a nobody. She's got quite a large channel, and I saw the video myself, and obviously, like everybody else, I was upset. And so I reached out to Jordan, which I tend to do to most influencers if I'm going to do a video. Rarely do any influencers ever get back to me. Rarely do they have the balls to even get back to me. But Jordan, you've kind of taken it 5 steps forward. Not only do you have the balls to talk to me, but we're gonna talk about the situation. And I think it's a moment in time that people rarely get to see this unfold in real time, how you're feeling, how it's affecting you, what has happened, how you're feeling, and all that kind of stuff. And so I want to just say right off the top, thank you for coming on the show.
Of course.
It's pretty baller, I'm not going to lie.
No, thank you for having me. You messaged me so kindly, and I greatly appreciate that. So I am definitely open to the conversation.
I tend to not want to speak to the people I do videos about because then I can do more scathing videos. So I'm kind of sad when people do get back to me.
No, I get it.
So tell me just a little bit, before we get started into what happened, tell me a little bit about you, your platform, how you grew it. Let's give me a high level overview of what you are, who you do, give me a high level overview of who you are, what you do, and how it affects your life.
Yeah, so I've been vlogging for 8 years. I believe I started right before I had my son, Christian. Mm-hmm. He was born a micro-preemie at 25 weeks. He was born at 1 pound.
Wow.
And the doctors said he would not make it. We had no idea why I went into premature labor. There was never any specific medical cause. It was all a mystery. And they basically walked into the hospital room and told us, your child's not going to make it. We have to deliver him immediately. Wow. If he does make it, prepare for cerebral palsy or severe brain damage, all these things. Mm-hmm. And my family and I just broke down, started praying immediately, had emergency C-section, had my son at 1 pound, and we're in the NICU for 4 to 5 months. Mm-hmm. And now you guys have seen him on my channel. He is 8. He is strong and healthy. He has a few delays, but not really. He's very social, very loving, very friendly, and it's always been him and I since day one. Mm-hmm. His dad has been out of the picture since day one. Mm-hmm. People can definitely speculate on what they think happened there. I know what happened. He has no desire to be a father figure, has never contributed mentally, financially, physically, nothing like that. And I take pride in knowing that I have been the number one person to raise Christian, do everything for him. I totally have made so many mistakes, but I'm learning as I go. So I just kind of started from the beginning, back when there wasn't very many YouTubers. There was a few girls I looked up to, and I was like, my mom was like, just use your iPhone 4, you can do this. And I was like, no, no one's gonna wanna watch this.
Who inspired you to take the step into family vlogging?
Well, at the beginning it wasn't family vlogging. So before I had Christian, I was watching Candy Johnson and who's now, I'm not sure, maybe 38 or something, but back in the day there was only a few beauty people, and I did a lot of makeup videos. I had a video hit 1 million views, and that was a makeup video. So I did makeup for, I would say, 2 years. Mm-hmm. Then when my son got a bit older, I started sharing how I was slowly able to quit my retail job, rely on social media full time. Mm-hmm. I went from apartment to condo to buying a house, buying my dream car, purchasing a vacation for my family. And people, I think, were inspired from a single mom standpoint that I did that without a penny from anyone else. And I have always been proud of that. Mm-hmm. So I've shared Christian in my videos, throughout the past 8 years. And some things I've probably shared too much. Some things I think people are glad that I shared because they can relate. I've shared some of his health struggles and stuff like that.
We'll get into that in a minute, because that's going to be one of the most important parts of this, aside from the drama that's happening right now. But so you found success on the internet. This seems to be your full-time job. It's something you love doing. Yes. You make a lot of money on it. And as an influencer, it seems to be that you give your son a good life. And as we were talking before, and those conversations won't be privy to anybody, but I saw the genuineness in what you were saying. And of course, I do also think that everybody loves their children. I don't think that people don't, but I think sometimes we don't see, and I think specifically influencer parents don't actually see, and maybe they don't want to see, or they do, the dangers that could happen for a kid that is exposed on the internet. Now, before I get into more of that, I don't really know a lot about Christian. Obviously, I didn't know about your channel before. But I'll allow you to tell me more about that. But before we get to that, so that's a quick high-level overview. You see success on here. How do you see, and Christian became a big part of your channel. I have a question for you. This might sound, I don't know. Do you think that your channel would be successful without him?
I do. Because I have some videos. I started like a Boss Babe series, and I hate that name now. And I know people hate it. I hate it. But I had, my ex and I broke up. I had a 400 credit score. I got up to almost 800, bought a house. So I had this like Boss Babe series teaching women how I improved credit, saved money. None of those videos included my son. And some of those hit 1 million views. So I do believe in my heart that I have enough to offer as a woman without including my child in my content. And this is something, even before yesterday's incident, genuinely, honestly, that I've been internally battling with and haven't really told my audience about. We'll get into it, but about how much I want to share him on camera and stuff like that. But yes, I do believe I have other things to offer that do not include him, but I have included him because I have him 24/7. My parents will have him on a weekend or whatever, but he's with me all the time. It's kind of hard to daily vlog without him and the puppy. So yeah, he's been in a ton of my content.
Okay, so let's get to the elephant in the room, obviously, why we're talking, why I talked to you, why we connected. People sending me a million videos, the same link of you, pulling your son in to make a thumbnail. I call it pulling a Shannon Rose. I don't know who she is, but she does it all the time, where she leaves like a minute of her like going. And I get it. Like, I understand that thumbnails need to be made. I get how the video is created, but a lot of people were very upset, and I think rightly so, about seeing something that they don't actually honestly get to see. I call it how the sausage is made, and behind the scenes, and it was a revelation for a lot of people. And then you upload the video, you fail to take that part out. Then what happens next for you? You get what, 100 messages?
Okay, so yes. So basically, I'll do a quick breakdown. I told my audience we had big news. It was that we got another puppy. My audience has a total bond with my son and Sadie, and we've been wanting a sibling for her. So the big news, I had a countdown on my Instagram, and I can see how many people turned on the countdown reminders. So they were all waiting for this video. So the day I was supposed to upload at that time, I did upload, but I said, hey, instead of this being the loving, amazing video I was gonna show you guys, I'm so sorry to inform you. I wanna let you know our big news was that we got a puppy. But we're literally sitting outside the vet right now, and instead of us saying it's a happy day, we just found out she has parvo. The breeder sold her to me with parvo and fleas, which we just found out. Yep. And I made the whole video. I have no shame in the whole first part of the video. What was so wrong of me was at the end of the video and this is something I can just be so honest about, and like I said, that I've been battling with for a while. With YouTube, you get the content and you have to take the thumbnail. And yes, we have, of course, posed for thumbnails in the past. Sometimes I'll choose a random screen grab. In that moment, I told Christian after the video was over, come here, like sit on my chest. And I was like, act like you're crying. It's a sad video. And I watched it back. And yes, I did get the hate comments. I'm completely aware people are so upset with me. And I watched it back, and I just had such a moment of being literally horrified at myself that I have gotten to this place with YouTube sometimes, like you say, where the reality is twisted, and it's just such second nature to create content that I should have taken such a step back in a vulnerable moment. And my son was already crying, and his cries were very genuine. Creating a thumbnail should have been the last thing on my mind, and I can't even watch it back because it's so cringe. Not only cringe, I'm so apologetic, not to my audience, even if that may sound mean. I'm not very sad to them. I am upset with myself that I had my son act like he was crying or upset and the thing is, people seeing that, thinking that that was fake, takes away from them genuinely believing that we were upset yesterday. We were crying. Our dog might not make it, but now they think my whole channel is disingenuous, and that is where I'm so disappointed in myself. So I just want to say I know it was 100% my bad, and I mean that. And I don't have to apologize to them. It's for the health and well-being of Christian and his emotions. And I so genuinely mean that, and I don't even know how to get it across how disappointed in me that I am. Yeah,
and I think that's when we started connecting, you talked to me about that, and I was like, oh shit, this is way different than I expected. Okay, fine, awesome. Yeah. But I think partly what I do on this channel, if you don't know, is I actually call this out. I call out influencer culture because I'm not saying it's all bad, but I think it's mostly bad, and here's why. Yeah. And you can agree or disagree, and likely we're going to have differing views on this, and that's okay. But I feel like a lot of women will take you, for example, you're very beautiful, you have it all, seemingly all put together, and I'm sure we'll talk about that after that, it's really not. But what we do is, the women specifically that follow this channel, will watch your channel, they'll watch Bits of Brie, they'll watch all these women who have it all together, and they will inadvertently or advertently compare themselves and stack themselves up against you and find themselves wanting every time. So I find influencer 100%. Culture is toxic in the way that those women can't stack up, and then it all it does is it diminishes who they are, and they're like, I can never do it. And then a lot of them just feel they are left wanting. And so that's something I do 100%. On this couch. And so when you're here having a conversation with me with this, that's why I said you have balls, because not a lot of people will admit what I'm saying is true. And I think that you're having a come to Jesus moment or an aha moment or whatever the hell you want to call this, where you're saying, holy shit, I've seen something. And it sounds to me like, have you ever done anything like this before where you're like, I flirted with the line there. I did not like what I did there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is something I've been battling with internally. I don't want to cry on this or have anything seem disingenuous, but this is something I have battled with, I would say, the past year and a half. Social media used to be so fun, and I had such a positive, loving audience. And if you read through the comments, even on the video where I effed up yesterday, there's still hundreds of loving comments saying, it's okay, you're a mom, move on.
Yep.
But I have struggled. I've called my brother and had like 3-hour talks about I have to move on into another job field, because like you said, the comparison and getting warped and twisted into what you think is reality and is not. Yep. And at the beginning, the family vloggers I followed, everyone included the kids. I would never even have a second thought or think, oh, this might be put Christian in danger or his mental health. I mean, I would think about those things, but not at all to this extent. Like, so many people have tagged me in your content. I watched one video that you did before we had the call. I wanted to go into it with a fresh mindset. I didn't watch too much, but her name was Tara.
Lucky.
And she admitted, she was like, I'm taking my child off. You know, I had no idea about, like you mentioned, I don't want to, if we can, I would really not like to mention anything like sexual with kids, but I know you mentioned there's people who are crazy, and like, I don't want anything to ever get to that level. The love I have for Christian, he's literally all I have. Like, he's everything. So I think it's such a pivotal moment. And I do want to make this clear. It's not just yesterday. There's other times with YouTube where I've been out with friends and family and I have to pull out the camera. I have to vlog. I have to get the thumbnail. And I will admit, I'm grateful and love this job. And I make more. No, I'm not rich. I am not a millionaire. I want to put it out there. Not a millionaire. But I cannot just quit this job and do something else. Like, I have created this life for us, which I am innately so proud of.
Yep.
But I feel this internal struggle within me to move forward, creating content that I know I'm capable of without my child in the videos, and really reassess and have that balance. And I was thinking of all this so many times, I mean, before yesterday. And this just was really like the cherry on top. Yeah. So the minute you reached out, I was like, this is time to face it. And if I've already lost some support, it's okay. Like, I have to do what's best
you
for
said
Christian.
You said something really interesting there. It's when you're out with friends and family, and this is, again, this is less of an indictment of what you've done in that video, okay? And more of a conversation about it's a glimpse into something we never get to see. Now, when you're out with friends and family and you feel the need to pull out the camera, that's pressure on you, because you have to make that content so you can make the money. So most of the shit that you put together is either capturing a moment because it happens, capitalizing on moments that happen, or creating moments that happen so that you can capitalize on this thing. And that's, again, I just wish more people were more transparent about what they're doing, and none of them are. There are a lot of family vloggers and influencers will say, well, I do this because I want to capture memories with my family, and I just don't believe it. But
I will admit, there are things, not to interrupt you, like my son's birthday and like his last birthday, I put together a montage from when he was born. I am genuinely so happy to have that on camera, and that is a moment captured 100%. But I also feel like YouTube nowadays, it's like movies. The editing is insane. I can't even tell you how many people I know behind the scenes who play up their thumbnails or what's happening or clickbait this and clickbait that. I am the first to admit it has been such a struggle for me, and you feel like you have to keep up with the content people are putting out or what's interesting. Yep. And it's 100%. And people who say that it's not a challenge or they're not posing for this, it's just not true.
And yes, and a lot of us know that, again, but no, the transparency you're giving me today is something that, again, none of us will. A lot of us, no influencer is, if I may say it, has the balls to say what you're saying right now, and so I appreciate it. But now I'm gonna ask you a harder question. Okay, so now are you actually sorry, or are you just sorry you got caught?
I would say I am genuinely sorry to my son. That in that moment, I was not myself yesterday. I'm not going to blame it on that, but we were very emotional over the dog. So much going on. I am disappointed in myself that in that moment I prioritized the YouTube, the thumbnail, the acting over his genuine emotions in that moment. And when the camera was off, I talked to him, I consoled him. We were fine all night. We prayed together, and I told him, I'm so sorry that at the end, he doesn't know the thumbnail. I just said he had to take that picture for YouTube, and he doesn't know. He was like, it's fine, Mom. Like, I love you. I hope Rosie's okay. I am genuinely sorry to my son, and I am also genuinely sorry that my followers had to see that very poor judgment that I made, and for that, if they think that that is what I do on every video, that is not true. Have I done it before? Yes, I have. This is YouTube. I have done the clickbait. I've done the posing thumbnails. But yes, I am immensely disappointed in myself and was mostly apologetic to my kid, who we've talked about it.
Has anybody in your circumference, your family, friends, ever stopped you and said, don't? Are you like, or say, hey, are you sure? Or maybe something you put out there that was a little bit too much? Has anybody ever called you 100%. On it? Yeah.
100%. But I started off my YouTube being so intimate. I had a really bad heartbreak. I was going through insane depression and anxiety. I know everyone seems to say they have it these days, but I couldn't get out of bed. I had a long distance relationship with someone in the military, was broken up with, like literally gained 30 pounds, couldn't get out of bed. I had YouTube. I was making so little on YouTube that if I didn't post, I couldn't make the rent. I had to post. Okay. I gained so much weight, and people knew, and like were making fun. It was, so yes, from the beginning, I have chosen to share very intimate things because I know it related to people. I got a lot of new moms following me after my son's NICU journey, and we related on that. So in my eyes, I kind of just always shared everything. And nowadays you see influencers, again, I don't like that word, or the boss babe or whatever, but on there, and they're talking about like everything. And my mom has talked to me recently a few times and said, hey, you really have to prioritize Christian and his mental health. And I thought, because I was getting comments of other moms saying, oh, my son also has this. My son has this speech delay. My son was in the NICU. Or like, your dog has parvo. My dog had it. And my mom would tell you, she's the type where don't tell anyone your business. She's glad that I've made this a job and I support Christian, but she also wants me to draw the line. And in addition to yesterday, the past year, thinking about the balance I want to have, yesterday was really the moment for me of like, not only did I fuck up, but hey, let's reevaluate like everything with Christian going forward.
Yeah, and that's where I stand, and that's where, again, what you did, I think a lot of people are outraged because they saw it, but I mean, I get that. But I swear to God, if anybody ever saw what went on behind a camera of a family vlogger, they would be outraged. And so you've opened up a conversation. What you did was shitty. We know it. You say it. I'm not gonna pile on. Everybody will pile on. That's just the way it is. But I appreciate that you're brave enough to come on and talk about it, and it's incredible because we get a glimpse into it. Now, let's talk about mommy vlogger lifestyle from my stance. And I talk a lot about this channel, and we'll talk about Christian for a second, and he's a miracle baby, and that is true in every sense of the word, because a kid born at 24 weeks is, what is it, when you said 1% chance of living? I had a friend that had a baby, I think at 22 weeks or something insane, and that child is thriving. It's amazing. And I love these stories. I get it. But my issue is that I talked with a psychologist. He's got his own podcast. He's really cool, Dr. Kirk Honda. And I asked him, I said, can kids give in consent to be on YouTube, right? And a lot of family vlogger parents will say, well, I give the consent, or they do. But the truth of the matter is, someone like Christian who's 8, and I have just a freshly 9-year-old girl, I know that Everly, my daughter, would never ever be able to give consent to be on camera. Truly, I have to make that decision for her, right? And she's not going to be on camera, but I'm just saying. So how does it, when I give you this information, like a child cannot give informed consent, which means that the child needs to understand the future of that choice, meaning that, okay, Christian, I'm going to put you on this internet. We're going to talk about your NICU journey. We're going to talk about our dog dying or have parvo, or we're going to talk about you going to the hospital because you broke your arm, or we're going to talk about your first girlfriend, or all this shit. They will never understand the ramifications. And you've already alluded to this, that when you had a hard breakup, you gained 30 pounds, you're in bed, you're depressed, people calling you out for gaining weight, which is shitty, all that kind of stuff. But maybe you didn't realize this, but that's the shit that's going to come out in the future for Christian when he's old enough to be in high school, and kids are going to... And I asked you this question, I said, what is it that they're going to Google if his friends see you, okay, and they're teenagers, and you're a young mom, And teenage boys are disgusting. And this is something I talked about with Shannon Rose, and I talked about this with a couple other OnlyFans accounts. And we unlocked a Reddit forum where a girl or a boy, I don't know who it was a teenager. Their mother was an OnlyFans, and she wanted to commit suicide because her friends all found it, and they just relentlessly bullied this person. Okay, it was just a heartbreaking story. Now, I'm not saying you're going down that route, but I'm just saying when it comes to the future of Christian, his privacy, now that you're kind of waking up to this whole thing, were you ever aware, or did you ever put that in your brain that, holy shit, his whole life is going to be out there for everybody to see?
Right. And I think a lot of times I was filming, like, you want to film the exciting moments, right?
Yep.
Like, no one wants to vlog and sit when they're just having a boring day. I would make an effort to vlog when we're going to the beach, Disneyland, something fun. So when we look back on it, it's a happy time, as well as I prided myself in sharing the heartbreak and the difficult moments. And I didn't want it, people have commented, like, we love that you're real and you share everything, the weight gain, the heartbreak, the depression, like, people felt like they weren't alone. So I think Christian definitely has happy memories to look back on. And I've asked him before, he is old enough now, he's fully conscious, he's 8. I've said, like, last night we had to talk about if he wants to be on camera anymore. And he's fully conscious of saying yes or no, but I'm aware that because he's not 18, you know, like you said, take it with discretion. It's ultimately the parent's choice, but I do think, and I want to admit, that there is definitely some things, like the clip last night, I took it down, but people re-uploaded it, which is just so shitty. It's shitty that I did it, and it's yes, if Christian Googles it, of course I wouldn't want him to see that. I feel bad. It was just a terrible moment, and it's all on me, and I'm immensely sorry, just disappointed in myself. So yeah, if he were to grow up and see things that I'm not proud of as a mom, it's very heartbreaking, and of course has made me think how I can act so much more positively in the future, and I really mean that. Yeah,
no, and you alluded to something else about your struggles in life and all that kind of stuff, and it sounds to me that, and I believe you, Christian is your life. You're a single mom. He is your world, and I believe you. Like, I also believe that influencing is also your other world, and they kind of collide a lot. They have to. It's how you make your ends meet. Imagine yourself, you grew up and your mother was an influencer, okay? And she shared everything. Okay, I'm talking depression, bikini pics, not getting out of bed, talking about your breakups and everything. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just saying, imagine that, and then your friends in high school Googling that they can know everything intimately about your mother. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, I wonder if any influencers ever thought about that.
Of course. I mean, I have talked to friends behind the scene. I have a lot of friends who do this, like, job, and a lot of them don't come out and say they struggle on camera, that they're internally dealing with it. I just had a friend who quit social media because of it's just too much mentally, and to go get another job, and she was worried that they were going to Google her, and everything is out there. And I have some things that I'm not proud of. I mean, nothing in my opinion that's extremely, like, horrible. Like, last night was probably the worst of it. It was just, I know it looked fake and disingenuous, and that is something that I have to learn not only will live on the internet forever, but that the fact that I did that action with my child, a huge eye-opener. And so yes, I mean, everything can be Googled, everything can be traced back. You have to be so careful, and not just careful because, oh, someone's gonna find this, but last night I was thinking about it, and it's not just, oh, who's gonna see this and not like me? It's is that the way I'm really acting in that moment with my kid? Like, what is best for him? Yeah, you're bringing up great points here that I sometimes don't think about. You brought up a great point about your friend quitting and saying, I got to remove everything off the internet. Because if the influencer culture is your life and you do things that are provocative, I mean, not anymore. If you look at today, it's not really. But you're right. Let's say you were done with this. You were sick of the bullying. You were sick of people calling you out or whatever. You were like, I don't want to put my kid on the internet, and people were mad at you, stopped watching. And by the way, for people who stop watching a vlogger because they take their kids off, you can go F yourself. But hear me out. What you've done now, you might have locked yourself into a position where you don't have a choice now, right? If you go to a potential employer and again, there's no taking steps backwards. If you're making 100, 300 grand a year, why the hell would you go? And I get this. Why would I want to take a step back and make 50 grand a year? So you're going to want to take a position into a job where you can utilize these abilities, but they're going to be able to see every intimate detail of who you are. And it's almost a detriment to you, because what if that person doesn't like you or doesn't like something they saw? And I talked to another influencer, mommy influencer, who has asked me to not say who it is, but she did something really stupid. And she's like, I'm so scared and I'm so angry at myself
that this is my legacy, that this is what they're going to see forever because it's on the internet forever. What I think you did last night was shitty. Obviously, and I'm going to repeat that, but I don't think that's the worst of what I've seen family vloggers do. Now, if you're taking your kid to the hospital when they get hurt, or you're exploiting heartbreaks, or exploiting when they're angry, or having, I don't know. I've not watched any of your videos, but I feel like those are the types of things that family vloggers, you get so wrapped up, and you said this, you get wrapped up so hard in it that you don't see the other side anymore until something like this, like Nikki Phillippi with the dog, killing their dog and taking pictures with it. People like Micah, who rehomed adopted son from China. Sometimes it takes a moment like this to have an awakening, and I think that's what you're walking through right now, and that's why this is so interesting to hear from your side. When shit broke down last night, have you ever had a moment in your social media history similar to this?
No, I don't think I've ever been canceled. I mean, I have a good subscriber amount, which I grew over 6 years, but my views are low nowadays. You know, like my days of hitting 1 million views are in the past. I'm not someone that drama channels usually cover, nothing like this. So, I mean, even just the fact, and I get it. If I saw someone do that and I had followed them and respected them, I would just be like, what the fuck? Like, your shit's fake. So not only I'm not mad at anyone. Like, some people Instagram DM'd me and probably thought I would block them. And if people comment below, I have blocked people who have made harassing or threats. But if someone said, I'm disappointed in you, I've followed you for 10 years, I wrote them back and I have all the proof. And I said, I'm so disappointed in myself. And I'm sorry I let my son down, and I'm so sorry you feel this way and you've lost your trust in me. I replied back like I replied to you. I did turn off my DM requests for a minute because there was so many, and I had to just have my mental health for the night. But today I turned it back on, and I was so grateful. You were at the top, and I know that it was meant for us to connect.
As much as I hate the exploitation of children, I still will always say it's never okay to send someone a death threat or threaten anybody. And it's sad, and we talked, and you've gotten a bunch of that from this, and I'm just going to say, like, that's shitty. And nobody should ever have to deal with it.
It was a terrible, terrible thing of me to fake my child making an emotional thumbnail in an emotional moment, but someone telling me I'm doing child abuse when there's real people out there who are not feeding their kids and beating their kids. That not only to me is offensive, it makes me incredibly emotional because I know that I fucked up, but I know how much I genuinely love my child. So it's just, I mean, the internet hate these days, people are savage, and it is so unfortunate. It's
an interesting question. Is it, now the money is good, and I know that social media money can be good, but the amount of hate and vitriol that, we just did a video, I did a video yesterday on Dixie crying on the channel for the D'Amelios, breaking down, nervous, sounded like she's having a nervous breakdown from all the hate that she gets. And is it really worth it? Is there moments that you're going to sit back and say, holy shit, is this really worth it? Like all that the hate I get, the not unsolicited dick pics that you get all day long, and all the people throwing hate at you, jealousy, vitriol. Like, is there any bit of moment you're like, I'm effing done with this?
Literally, so many times. And the reason I have not stopped making content, first of all, I genuinely do love making content. I got into photography, cinematography. I still do all my own editing. And I honestly think people think that I make more than I do, because the other day they said, oh, he's crying in the thumbnail for views. Based on the current CPM rate, I can give you screenshots for this video. I would have made $100, $120 on that video. I mean, we're not ranking in 20K a month on AdSense. Like, I would have got what I got from my other videos. And because I vlog our entire life, no one video am I wanting to get more views than the other. Like, someone said, why would you film when your dog got parvo? And in my head, I'm thinking, well, I just film everything. I film our daily life. This is what happened today. I'm going to share. So it's, yes, made me take a step back and say, hey, there are things that have to be kept private. And that's a whole other thing. But yes, with putting Christian first, I do believe there are other jobs I could attain for great money. I have family who doesn't do social media. They're very happy. And so many times I know that my mental health and my son's mental health does need to come first. I plan on making a lot of changes, honestly. I've recently got back into therapy for a few things in my private life, and I really am committed to being the best mom. I mean, that's great. I really hope that, you know, I don't know you from Adam, but I hope you mean it. But here's a question. Would you want Christian to be an influencer? You know, I don't know, because there are some that I follow. I want Christian to do whatever makes him happy. And every parent says that, but I mean it. I want him to have a job and a family and do something that fulfills him every day. I don't want any type of drama or cattiness. I went through the worst bullying experience when I was in college in the dorms. It was terrible. Like, I don't want any of that for him. But I do follow some people who I do believe are genuine, who have been able to navigate this in a positive way. And if his calling and passion in life, and he's called to share something on camera, I wouldn't want him to be held back from that. But no, I wouldn't want him involved in anything that is negative for his mental health, or who knows, by the time he grows up, if there's something new coming out. I want the best for him, but I definitely think I will double think and triple think everything.
If you had your choice, though, influencer life would not be for your son.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people, I think even influencers would say that. I think everybody would, if you get into the thick of it, I think most, if you're being honest as a parent, you would not want that. You want any kind of fame for your child. Like, I guess my kid wants to be a TikToker, do all this shit. And I get it. And kids these days say you want to be YouTubers and all this stuff. And I'm like, I almost need to like launch a campaign and go to schools and talk to kids about not being YouTubers. But I mean, that's honesty.
I never grew up thinking I would do this. My dad's a lawyer. I went to Cal State San Marcos for business. I actually wanted to get into law. I grew an audience so unexpectedly, and I mean that. Like, it was just, this was never something I like initially planned. And I think if my son could do something that makes him happy, where he's stable, but he's kind of out of this influencer culture, that would make me the happiest.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, I'm going to challenge you to make you a commitment. And so I honestly believe everything you're saying here. I do believe that you're genuine in your apology, that you knew you effed up.
Thank you.
I mean, you're still going to get hate. I'm going to get hate for being nice to you. So it is what it is. But at the same time, you want to have a conversation with me as a human, then I'm not going to pile on. You're going to have a real conversation. It sounds like you're being genuine to me, and I trust my gut. But I'm going to ask you something. I'm going to ask you to make a commitment to Christian, because I know you love your child. I love my children. I would kill for my children. Okay, I would do anything. I would die for my children. Okay, I would do anything for them. And I feel like I think even family vloggers, a lot of them would be that way, except for a few. But I do believe that in you. And I'm wondering if would you consider making a commitment to pulling him off, or at least not sharing any more private information, or like if you go to Disney, like whatever, right? If he's playing soccer, whatever, right? At the same time, like I have a zero tolerance for my kids. I won't ever do that because I'd be a huge hypocrite. But would you consider making a commitment from going forward to not sharing his privacy as much as you have done in the past, and possibly considering taking down some of those more problematic things that are shit? So just imagine if he gets to high school, something that he doesn't want anybody to see.
Oh, of course. And I mean, I would hope people are going to be hateful and do what they do. I would hope those clips people have re-uploaded that I knew was poor judgment and take down, they would also take down. Probably won't happen. But yeah, actually, before we talked, even last night, to be honest, I had a very long talk with my brother and just internally myself. And I've been thinking about this way before yesterday. I think what's best for me going forward is to not include Christian in my YouTube content. I have to be very honest. On Instagram, we have the puppy, and Christian's with me 24/7. I know that I would really like to feel confident in the fact that I can post a picture of him and still share people know who my son is, but I think moving forward, to take Christian off YouTube for the time being until he's older. By the time he is older, I will probably have a different job. I'm not going to be an influencer when I'm 50. But yeah, I had already last night made the internal shift within me to start thinking of positive content I can put out without including Christian. And it is an internal struggle, because I do think people like seeing the family and the single mom, she's thriving. And like you said, it's not all of that behind the scenes. I go through so much. But yeah, I think that would be best for Christian's mental health, to be honest. And I think I do have a lot to offer content-wise without my child. So going forward, I can 100% make a commitment to pull Christian off there. I know on Instagram, here and there, he's with me. He's 24/7. But I think I think that is what's best for Christian, even if that proposes challenges for me.
And I think there's a way you can do it where it's not Christian-centric, but if he pops in the video or says hi, at this point, I would take anything from any family vlogger to say, look, I'm just not going to share videos of my daughter's shopping for period kits, or shopping for bras, or shaving her legs, or I would take that, just take off the problematic shit. And I'm like, I'm not saying you got to do what you got to do. And I'm not saying I'm the boss or the police on what you can do, but making a commitment. A lot of people make money off of their child. I'm not sure that you do that, though. I'm not sure Christian is a main. Did you drive ads?
Never had any. No, Christian's we've never had one child sponsor. Addition from YouTube, I have a course on monetizing Instagram. I've been excellent at attaining Instagram sponsorships, high engagement.
Yep.
So my course through that, the Instagram Matrix, drives a lot of my sales and a lot of my recurring revenue. I do have a few sponsors on YouTube. I don't have one child sponsor for him from a food company, a kid clothing company. He's in the vlogs. I won't lie. Of course, he's in the vlogs. But like I said, I had that other content that blew up about my like women empowerment series, and that he wasn't even in it.
Good.
So I know that I have things I can post without him, but not only like, I'm not only scrambling over here, like, what am I going to post without him? It's about his mental health.
Yeah.
Like I've been thinking about, is it best for him? And I will figure out the work and the money later. Like I've got money saved up. It's not about that. It's about really what's, like you said, what's best for my kid.
I think it's about, again, not even like, best is important. And that's the good word to have here. But what I think a lot of family vloggers don't realize is privacy and how much we're going to value it when like we grew up. Like I'm 41 and I grew up, the internet was like 96. So I was just on ICQ and like just on MSN Messenger chat. And it was just halfway through my life. But our children grew up never not having a touchpad or an iPad, right? They didn't grow up on photos on the internet. The privacy that we can give our kids is going to be so effing valuable. That I don't think a lot of people see that right now. And so that's it. Less about mental health, because he seems to like it. And I think a lot of family vloggers will say that. And I don't think, from what I've seen, that there's too much craziness out there. But again, I think it's overall the privacy. How is he going to feel about what he sees when he's 18? What are his friends going to think? And I think you could give him that. I think that you're in a good position, and I would celebrate you. I would say, hey, you know what? You're badass, because it takes a real set of balls to say, you know what, I had this moment, I'm changing. Not a lot of people do. Some people do it. Some people do it. And those people who do it, I've always told them on my channel, if I cover anybody and they decide to take their children off, I will remove every video I've ever done about them, and that's my commitment. And I think in your end, if you follow through this commitment, I mean, good for you. I mean, effing, I'll share your shit. I mean, I think it's nobody gets to have this conversation, and I'm, again,
I mean, this is evoking a lot within me that I've already been thinking about. So even with me taking things off of Christian in the future, I would like if you kept this conversation up. I feel like it needs to be heard. And trust me, it makes me in a bad light in a lot of ways. I've had the hate last night. I've got the DMs. I've got emails. I mean, people are ruthless. But I just knew that we were meant to talk on some level. You approached me so kindly, and I mean what I'm saying. I fucking love my kid, and 100%, it's easy to get brainwashed and warped into the social media world. And I think moving forward, there's such a healthier way I can approach the channel. And I absolutely know that this moment in time of realization is meant to be.
On this channel, Dad Challenge Podcast, yes, I snark. Yes, I make fun of people. But what you've just done here is exactly why I do what I do. To have an honest conversation with somebody that is genuinely sorry, and I do believe that, who is genuinely woken up to the fact that your child's privacy matters, your child's dignity matters, your child's future matters. And nobody really does that. So I just want to honestly thank you. I want to honor you for that, because that is so effing rare, specifically in influencer culture, because we live in these, I don't consider myself an influencer, but influencer culture is a place you have to be where you're always having to create something fake or not, or real, or whatever the case may be, in order to put yourself across. And it's really difficult to be humbled, I think, is what's happening here. Yeah. You have been humbled, and you are actually... It's weird, because most people are humbled, they lash out, they freak out, they sue people, do whatever, and you have been humbled, and you have eaten your humble pie, and now you're sitting here in front of the guy that hates what you did.
Yeah. You messaged me, and I was like, oh, he's going to rip me to shreds. And I knew I deserved it, but I mentally prepared myself for the episode. I wasn't even prepared for you to ask. Well, you didn't even ask. I even said, I sent you a voice message, and I was like, look, if you have a show, if you have a podcast, because I didn't know much about you either. I was like, I will come on any platform and own it. Like, let's do it.
Honestly, because I did message you, and then you didn't, because likely you were busy and you were freaking out. I was gonna shred that video, because I was viscerally angry at myself. I mean, when I watched it, I think that's what people are seeing here, and I think that you are now owning up to it. You're saying, look, that's shitty, I shouldn't have done it. And now you're, again, more... how do I say this properly? It's very rare that you get it, that people are humbled and then they're like, I'm humbled. I shouldn't have done it. I'm stupid. I'm dead. And now it's not going to matter to some people, but I think you'll be surprised at who it will matter to, that you actually were humbled and you apologized. Yeah. Because it's not really about your fans, even though they're the ones that do pay. No. They're the ones that pay you. But it is about Christian overall.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, and I hope they don't get mad at me saying that. I make some money on AdSense, enough to cover my mortgage, my rent here. Yep. But I have a strong course platform, and I have done an impeccable job of creating that material, and I believe in it. Yep. So a lot of my clients come from there, but 100% I owe everything I have on YouTube to my audience. Yep. And I just want to reiterate, not only you saying you're grateful I came on and like it's a humbling moment for me. Has made me look so much further internally. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm doing a lot of reflecting on the back end that people do not see. Mm-hmm. And I'm having honest conversation. Like, I was on the phone with my brother for 3 hours and he was like, Jordan, you got to just get Christian off there. You got to make your own content. And it's like, I just fell into sharing him and everything. And I want to be honest and admit that. I think there's more mommy vloggers who didn't necessarily intend to include their child and everything, but then they just do, right? So you're on a pattern, and every time you go out, you feel like you have to post, where are you? You got to tag the place. You got to tell your kid, like, we're out, we got to vlog, you know? Yep. And my son, I do want to let people know, he loves, like, he'll wake up and he'll be like, he'll build something, like a paper airplane, whatever. He'll be like, Mom, show him. Like, he knows we've built this community and he likes that. Yeah. But there are times, I will admit, where he's over it 100%. And that's just something I have to face.
But the thing that you said there just kind of hit me was like, yeah, he loves it because that's been his reality. And again, that's... grooming is not the word. I'm just saying it's what he's known. But I feel like, again, I don't even want to get too much deep into it because you've already made your commitment, and I think that you realize. And I think he's going to thank you when he's older, because when we see all these effing kids on these other channels, Weiss Life and frickin' LeBrant's and all these crazy people, when those kids start suing their parents, shit is going to hit the fan, because they will, and they will sue YouTube. These kids, there has been influencers just recently in your, not like pretty... in your type of sphere of influence. She's more OnlyFans. Mm-hmm. She was just murdered by one of her super fans. You are a single mom, and one of the things that popped up instantly when I saw that was that, okay, shit, you are likely in the dating scene, and how do you know that this guy that is approaching you, or whatever the case may be, doesn't know everything about you already, and is... And I don't want to scare you, and I know this sounds super dark.
No,
but does that not scare the shit out of you? Does that scare the shit out of you?
Of course.
Okay.
I would love to be at the point where I'm able to have the privilege of someone getting to know me before they Google me and find all my videos. What I am proud of is the videos that they will find up until yesterday. Yeah. You know, that horrible moment. I am so proud of the life I've built for Christian. I know I love my kid. Mm-hmm. I've worked hard. I don't need a man for anything. Mm-hmm. My audience knows kind of my love story journey. I've been waiting for that soulmate best friend. I haven't found that person yet, but I know it's on the way. And yes, of course, I would love the opportunity to get to know them without me Googling, them Googling me. Yeah. But if they do, I am proud of what's out there. And I do, no one has to do anything, but those who change their mind, or at least see that I am sincere today. If I have something terrible up that they've re-uploaded yesterday and they could find it in their heart to take it down for Christian's sake, I cannot even say how much that would mean to me. I
think, I can't speak on that. I think people are going to hate because they will, and people hate me too, and it's just the way this world is. It's kind of the give and the take. Yeah. But it's interesting because it's something, a world we never talk about, a single mom world in influencer culture, someone that has 500,000 subscribers, lots of fans on Instagram, all this shit. How do you navigate dating life when people can Google the shit out of you and just find instantly lots of intimate details about your life?
I mean, so my son is 8. And I've only had 2 long-term relationships. His dad was out immediately within the first year. Mm-hmm. And one relationship was 3 years, like on and off. The next one was over a year. And so those people, they were both not social media, they weren't into the social media world. They had no desire to go Google me, to go whatever. Yep. And they found out that I did social media for a living, and they were both extremely proud of me and happy that I support Christian on my own. And it was nothing toxic at that moment, I think. Mm-hmm. But 100%, like you said, people can Google me. If I go to another job, people can Google that. And I have to be so not only careful, like, oh, if I'm caught, but careful for my conscience of, And I have been up until this point. If someone Googles me, like, so proud to see, like, oh, Jordan, I went to high school with her. Like, she's killing it. She's supporting herself. I was always so innately proud that I built this life for myself and Christian. And something like yesterday is a huge halt back where I'm disappointed in myself, which it needed to happen. It was the moment I 100% needed. But yeah, I'm super aware people can Google anything, and
But I was more alluding to and this is again dark, but I know that Predator playlists exist on YouTube, and I've had many conversations on my channel, and maybe you'll go watch one. Like Everly LeBrant, 7-year-old dancing, inappropriate costumes, and then there's things called Predator playlist where the men are compiling videos of them in their diapers or wearing inappropriate clothes. There's her Instagram following on her engagement analytics are 70% men over the age of 25, and she's 7. So this world is not only about privacy, but it's a danger. And you're in a dating world. You're not married. Disgusting. You're not locked down. And what's to stop a guy, a stan, who has been watching you forever? And I hesitate to say this because I don't ever want to speak shit in existence, but that's got to be hard for you to say. Is this guy a creepy guy that wants to, murder me and wear my skin for Burning Man or what? Like, I don't, that's such.
I mean, I went through something last year with a crazy stalker who was way past the level of a hater. Yeah. I literally had to get legal involved. That was the first time I've ever had to do that. And that took up, my audience doesn't even know this. I've never shared the situation. I had anxiety every single day. When someone puts your address out there or your personal info or you date someone, 100% you have to be immensely careful. And I think this only makes me take that carefulness level up a million notches, that privacy level. I completely agree with you. The privacy list thing, I don't even know about that. That's disgusting.
Shit's crazy.
People are, I don't even want to let myself be aware that stuff exists because it's disgusting. And to me, it's just so inhumane and like, who raised you? Like, these are children. Yep. And I'm sure on your end, like you reviewing people who put their kids on YouTube, you're like, well, why would you put your kid on YouTube? So this is totally such a, to be honest, it's such an eye-opener for me because everyone I follow does put their whole family on there. So to me, like you said, that's all I've seen.
Well, so
it's a whole new perspective.
There's been a couple influencer mommy vloggers who have found these things, their kid in diapers that they didn't even know that picture existed. There's deep fakes, there's deep web, and they found these things. And the first thing they did was like, I'm done. There are so many mommy vloggers and mommy influencers waking up to their kids being online. And when they see it with their own eyes, obviously it's a game changer, right? And I hope it doesn't exist. I haven't researched Christian. But I think what you're doing and the commitment you made today speaks volumes over anything else. Yeah, you fucked up. Yeah. It is what it is. I think if anything, this was an important benchmark in your life to say Christians' privacy matters more than anything else here. And it was a wake-up call for you, and you took that wake-up call and you made something of it. You apologized, you humbled yourself, and you made a commitment. And I think, what else could people? What do people want after this? Is what I'm going to say. What else could you do? Can you do a handstand or something? Can you make some brownies?
Some people will say. Some people will say we just lost our support for her forever, and that's fine. It's completely fine. I am very proud of myself that immediately I got on and said how deeply sorry I was. I know YouTubers who've waited a week, 2 weeks, they don't know what to say, they script it out, and I'm just like, I'm going on with no makeup and saying I'm fucking so disappointed in myself, and those who continue to follow me, I am immensely grateful for, but the main thing I'm concerned with is my child and his mental and happiness. But if people will look past that and stay with me, I want to let them know I greatly appreciate that as well. Yep.
And I think if you do continue this commitment, I think that you deserve it. I think if you're growing your IG and teaching people how to do that shit, that stuff matters more anyway, and you're helping other people, you can be that person without giving away his privacy. And I think you can. And when I looked at your stuff initially, I'm like, she doesn't need her kid on here. She doesn't. There are people who cannot, though. There are people in this sphere who would fall apart if they did, and that's so sad. Yeah. And I never want to see people get there. And I think you have an amazing wake up call today. And I want to thank you again for. Damn, again, you have the balls to come on. I mean, obviously, that's why I don't like speaking to people that I want to snark on, because then we have human conversations.
No, I appreciate it. I've seen some of my friends get canceled. Some of the biggest beauty influencers, there's things online that will never go away. And I've seen people go through it. And I was the first to be like, they shouldn't have done that. Holy shit. Yeah. And then it's like, when it's me, it's like everyone does make mistakes. But you can tell a genuine apology versus completely fake. which I know the action we did unfortunately was fake yesterday and just so thrown together for the video and just downright wrong. So my disappointment is that people may think that everything is fake with me now, which is upsetting, and I know in my heart it's not true, but I know that all I can do in the future, my actions will show. Those who want to stick with me, I'm so grateful for you. If not, it is fine. And I think I have a lot of content to offer without my child.
I think so too, and I think and if you do, I think you'll see that. I think you will. I think most people have a short memory on this type of thing. Again, I've seen way worse, obviously. People rehoming children and killing dogs. This, again, we know that this happens. Terrible. I think if most people saw how the sausage was made, this is actually par for the course. It's just we got to see it, and it was a wake-up call. So, man, Jordan, honestly thought this conversation was really one of the most important conversations I've had on my channel. And kudos to you for taking your humble pie and taking it in stride. That takes a badass mom to do that. Not gonna lie.
Thank you. Like you had mentioned prior, like let's just have an honest talk. And I just like said a little affirmation to myself before this, and I'm like, whatever I need to own up to or have the realization, I pray that I'm open to it. And I appreciate you. And yeah, you had every right to go on either side. There was no like, oh, answer my call and it's gonna go on your favor. Not at all. I'm so aware of the hate I've had last night. You know, the past 24 hours. So I'm grateful for you. I think it's a conversation that may help a lot of people on either side and just open up conversation for more things. Yeah,
absolutely. I think I hope other mommy vloggers and influencers are watching this to say, hey, look, just give your kid the privacy they deserve. That's all I say. Like, keep them safe. One of the most important things to keep your kids safe is to obviously keep them out of the eye of the public. That's what I think. Yeah. Awesome. All right, Jordan. Well, I appreciate this conversation, and wow, I hope to see you thrive after this commitment you made. I really do.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome.